Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a topic that I think is incredibly relevant to all of us, especially in today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world. Finding serenity, even when life feels anything but serene. Imagine this. You spend your life walking on eggshells. Every word you utter, every action you take is carefully considered, weighed against an invisible scale of approval. You're afraid to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, be the wrong thing. It's like living under a spotlight, constantly aware of an audience judging your every move. You're constantly seeking approval, terrified of criticism. That sinking feeling in your stomach when someone disagrees with you, the rush of anxiety when you receive constructive feedback, even if it's meant to be helpful. These become your constant companions. You find yourself bending over backwards to please others, often at the expense of your own needs and desires. And the worst part? Your inner voice is a relentless critic. It's that nagging voice in the back of your head, constantly comparing you to everyone else, highlighting every flaw, reminding you of every mistake you've ever made. It whispers doubts and insecurities, fueling your fear of judgment and reinforcing your belief that you're somehow not good enough. You believe your worth is tied to how well you perform in life, how productive you are, how much you achieve. You measure yourself against external metrics, your job title, your income, the number of followers you have on social media, the things you own. You're convinced that if you just reach that next milestone, that next level of success, then you'll finally be happy and worthy. But what if this constant striving, this relentless self-scrutiny, is precisely what's making you miserable? What if the very things you're chasing are actually pushing you further away from the peace and contentment you so desperately desire? This is a question that has plagued philosophers and spiritual seekers for centuries, and it's a question that one remarkable individual, Viktor Frankl, answered in the most profound way imaginable. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of unimaginable horrors, understood this on a profound level. As a psychiatrist imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps, he witnessed firsthand the depths of human suffering. He saw how easily people could lose hope, succumb to despair, and ultimately give up. But he also observed something extraordinary. Even in the face of unspeakable cruelty, some individuals managed to maintain their dignity, their sense of purpose, and their will to live. Frankl found that even in the direst of circumstances, meaning could be found, and that meaning, not the avoidance of pain, was the key to survival and well-being. It wasn't about suppressing emotions or pretending that everything was okay. It was about finding something to hold on to, something to believe in, something that gave life purpose and direction, even in the darkest of times. His philosophy, known as logotherapy, offers a pathway to resilience, to finding purpose even in suffering, and to a life grounded in something deeper than external validation. It's a reminder that we are not simply products of our circumstances. We have the power to choose our attitude, to find meaning in our experiences, and to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling, regardless of what challenges we face. By the end of this, you'll start to see why loosening your grip on these pressures, on these self-imposed limitations, can be the most empowering thing you ever do. You'll understand why finding meaning, not detachment, is the true key to inner peace. Think about it. How much anxiety stems from trying to control things you simply can't control? Other people's opinions, the future, your own past. We spend so much time and energy worrying about things that are completely outside of our sphere of influence, things that we have absolutely no power to change. We obsess over what others think of us. We try to predict the future with pinpoint accuracy, and we endlessly ruminate on past mistakes. How often do you beat yourself up over mistakes, replaying them endlessly in your mind? You analyze every detail, searching for clues about what you could have done differently, convinced that if you just figure it all out, you can somehow erase the past. But the truth is, the past is the past. It cannot be changed, and dwelling on it only serves to keep you stuck in a cycle of regret and self-blame. How much energy do you waste worrying about things that honestly won't matter in a year, a month, or even a week? We get so caught up in the day-to-day drama of our lives, in the petty squabbles and minor inconveniences, that we lose sight of the bigger picture. We forget what truly matters, our relationships, our health, our values, and we allow ourselves to be consumed by anxieties that are ultimately insignificant. Frankl's wisdom shines a light on a fundamental truth. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. We can't prevent bad things from happening, but we can choose how we react to them. We can choose to let them define us, or we can choose to learn from them, to grow from them, and to use them as opportunities to become stronger and more resilient. He believed that meaning could be found in all suffering. It wasn't about denying the pain or pretending that everything was perfect. It was about finding a purpose, a reason to keep going, even in the face of unimaginable hardship. It was about recognizing that even in the darkest of times, there is still light to be found, still hope to be held onto. Life is imperfect, life is painful at times, and relentlessly pursuing happiness is a trap. The idea that we should always be happy, that we should always be striving for some unattainable state of bliss, is a myth. Life is full of ups and downs, joys and sorrows, successes and failures. And it's in embracing the full spectrum of human experience, in accepting the inevitable pain and suffering, that we truly find meaning and contentment. Self-acceptance and purpose are the keys. When we accept ourselves, flaws and all, we free ourselves from the need to constantly seek external validation. We no longer need to prove ourselves to anyone. We can simply be ourselves, authentic and imperfect, and find joy in the process. And when we discover our purpose, our reason for being, we have something to guide us, something to inspire us, even when life gets tough. Now here's where many people misunderstand this. Finding meaning doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It doesn't mean giving up on goals or neglecting responsibilities. It's not about retreating from the world and isolating yourself from others. It means freeing yourself from the tyranny of shoulds and musts. It's about breaking free from the expectations of society, of your family, of your friends, and defining your own path based on your own values and your own desires. It's about living a life that is authentic to you, not one that is dictated by external pressures. It means choosing your values and then working hard to pursue them. It's about identifying what truly matters to you, your relationships, your creativity, your contribution to the world, and then dedicating your time and energy to those things. It's about living a life that is aligned with your values, a life that is driven by purpose and passion. It means accepting that you are good enough and that you don't need to prove it to anyone. You are inherently worthy of love, respect, and happiness simply because you exist. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to achieve it. You don't need to prove it. You are enough just as you are right now. It means focusing on being present, on finding meaning in each day, and on recognizing your own inherent worth. It's about savoring the small moments, appreciating the beauty around you, and finding joy in the simple things. It's about being grateful for what you have, instead of constantly focusing on what you lack. And it's about recognizing that you are a valuable and unique individual with something important to offer the world. Frankl spent his life studying the human spirit. He saw how people were crushed by their own negative thinking, by their fear of judgment, by their inability to accept themselves. He witnessed the devastating effects of self-doubt and insecurity, and he dedicated his life to helping people overcome these challenges and find meaning in their lives. He asked why we let these things dictate our lives. Why do we allow our fears and insecurities to control our decisions? Why do we let the opinions of others define our worth? Why do we cling to control when life is inherently unpredictable? These were the questions that drove his research and informed his philosophy. He questioned why we cling to control when life is inherently unpredictable. We try to plan everything, to anticipate every possible outcome, to eliminate all risk and uncertainty. But the truth is, life is messy, it's chaotic, and it's full of surprises. And the more we try to control it, the more frustrated and disappointed we become. And most importantly, he explored what would happen if we focused on finding meaning in the midst of it all. What if, instead of trying to avoid pain and suffering, We embraced it as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. What if, instead of trying to control everything, we surrendered to the flow of life and trusted that things would ultimately work out for the best? When you find meaning in your suffering, you become more resilient. You develop a deeper understanding of yourself, a stronger sense of purpose, and an unshakable belief in your ability to overcome adversity. You learn that even in the darkest of times, there is still hope to be found, still light to be held onto. When you find that you can survive the worst that life has to offer, you become more confident. You realize that you are stronger than you thought, more capable than you imagined, and that you can handle whatever life throws your way. You develop a sense of inner peace and security that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. When you stop trying to control everything, you make space for growth, for joy, and for connection. You free yourself from the burden of constant worry and anxiety, and you open yourself to new experiences, new possibilities, and new relationships. You learn to trust the process, to embrace the unknown, and to find joy in the journey. And here's the beautiful paradox. The less you need external validation, the more authentic you become. When you stop seeking approval from others, you give yourself permission to be yourself, to express your true thoughts and feelings, and to live a life that is aligned with your values. You become more genuine, more relatable, and more attractive to others. Think about the most emotionally healthy people you know. Are they constantly seeking approval? Are they worried about every little thing? Are they consumed by self-doubt and insecurity? Or are they grounded, compassionate, and secure in themselves? Do they seem at peace and at ease? They are grounded, compassionate, and secure in themselves. They have a strong sense of self-worth. They know what they believe in, and they are not afraid to be themselves, even if it means going against the grain. They are not perfect, but they are authentic, and they inspire others to be the same. Frankl understood this well before modern psychology. He believed in the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity, to find meaning in suffering, and to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. People are drawn to authenticity, to those who have found their own internal compass. They are inspired by those who have overcome challenges, who have embraced their imperfections, and who are living a life that is aligned with their values. When you embrace your imperfections and trust yourself, you naturally become more connected, more resilient, and more fulfilled. You create deeper and more meaningful relationships. You develop a stronger sense of purpose, and you find joy in the simple things. You learn to live a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling, regardless of what challenges you face. The moment you release the fear of failure or judgment, you gain freedom. The freedom to be yourself, the freedom to take risks, the freedom to live a life aligned with your values. It is finding the freedom to just be. But here's where it gets truly interesting. Once you stop focusing on external things, your life actually starts to improve. Relationships become more genuine, opportunities arise, and decisions become easier because they're based on what you truly value, not what you think you should value. You begin to live in alignment with what makes you happy. This is the essence of finding meaning. It's realizing that the greatest challenges in life can also be the greatest opportunities for growth. When you release that resistance, everything begins to align. Think about this. How many times have you silenced your own voice because you were afraid of upsetting someone? How often do you dwell on past hurts, replaying them in your head? How much of your life has been shaped by expectations that were never truly yours? Frankl invites us to step away from these self-imposed limitations. He challenges us to embrace the reality that the world isn't perfect, that we aren't perfect, but that we can still find meaning in the midst of it all. Find purpose even in our pain. Viktor Frankl's work is more than just abstract ideas. It's a practical guide to transforming how you experience life. What changes when you stop chasing the impossible? When you release your grip on your anxiety? When you start finding meaning in the moment? What will your life look like? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the pressures weighing you down were largely self-created. The rules you were following, the expectations you were trying to meet, were illusions. These things hold no value to you. What does that day look like? Frankl understood that human beings are meaning-seeking. We crave purpose even in suffering. But what if the key is not in solving every problem, but in surrendering to the fact that some things are simply beyond our control. Learning how to surrender is key. One of Frankl's most profound lessons is this: life is what you make it. You are capable of facing the darkness. You are capable of finding meaning in the chaos. You are strong. And that's it for today's video. I truly hope this has resonated with you and given you some food for thought. Remember, you are not alone in your struggles, and you have the power to create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling, no matter what challenges you face.